Hello and welcome to today's Wild Hearthstone deck tech and gameplay video on Armor Aggro Warrior. Armor Aggro Warrior is really it's a very traditional, very old school aggressive deck where we want to play like a load of low cost minions and apply pressure with them, hopefully before our opponent can really respond to any or make or respond well enough to like not, lose the game. What makes this a little bit different and why the armor part is here, we have a good amount of ways to generate armor. Not only because generating armor is nice and it lets us sort of ignore other aggressive decks and lets us go face, but with the new card Barricade Basher. This is at baseline a 3 mana 4/3, which is fine, but whenever we gain armor, gets a +2/+2 buff, and attacks a random enemy minion. So it's a perfectly fine creature in an aggressive deck that cares about gaining armor. And when it does gain armor, not only does it get bigger, but it also removes opposing creatures, which allows the rest of our aforementioned creatures that we talked about to just absolutely go face and apply buttloads of pressure. At the top end of the list, we do have cards like I'm gonna say General Vez, because I'm not gonna. When you get to Silithid style names, I don't know how to pronounce them, and I'm not gonna. The General here and Odin are both pretty good cards at the top end to sort of like play as just, big scary dudes, and their additional effects that they give you is really the reason why we're running them, if we're being honest. Where again, Odin, besides being a body, says if we gain armor for the rest of the game after playing him, we gain that much attack. Well, with a deck that cares about generating buttloads of armor from various sources, again, say, like the General here, or, our hero power, or a Crystallizer, or more armor from a Razorfin, or Bash, or etc., etc., etc. Basically lets us translate all of that would-be defensive power gained from armor and lets us go face. Of course, Ziliax is here since we're a deck that wants to go wide. Ziliax buffing our minions and costing less for all of our minions is a nice little bit of, gravy on top. But besides our low-to-the-ground aggressive creatures, our armor generation, and our top end that kind of cares about armor, we also have some glue cards to hold the whole thing together. Stone Skin Armor is both a creature that can apply pressure and allows you to draw cards. Needle Rock Totem can also apply pressure and gain you armor and draw you cards. And Outrider's Axe, again, apply pressure and draw cards. The death of any aggressive deck in any good card game that I've ever played is basically running out of resources before your opponents run out of life. And all these cards are ways to address these things. And that is the basics of the list. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you have any sort of questions like, I don't have X, what about Y? Or other generally nice and or constructive comments, leave those down below and I'll respond to those when I can. Now we finally go on to game number 1. And game number 1 with our little Armor Aggro list. Honestly, I was going to say, but we'll totally take that. Really, you just want to hit the ground running with a creature on turn 1. Doesn't terribly matter which one it is. In theory, there might be better options for particular matchups, but you're not going to know what those matchups are. So just, turn 1 play dude, turn 2 play dude. Pretty old school, but pretty good. And in this case, against a priest, I think a Trog is going to be pretty good. Come on. Fair enough. I'm actually going to bash that. Bash is one of those. It's basically the equivalent of. It's like Yeah, it really is Hearthstone's answer to Lightning Helix, where it can be, you know, damage that goes over the top to your opponent's dome, or it can be damage that goes into a creature, so into an opposing creature, so your creatures can live. Might as well play the Basher. If they have some sort of like spell-based removal for the Basher, hopefully they'll use it on the Basher and not on the Trog, therefore giving us more Trogs. Yeah, I don't love that. I don't mind it though. Go ahead and coin first, even though they probably picked creature. They picked get out of here. Okay. In that case, we'll do an Armor Smith and a Crystallizer. This is going to be one of those useful moments where it's going to live through the first hit, and because it took damage and lived, the Armor Smith is going to gain armor, buffing up the Barricade Basher even more. And that is one of the best little interactions that can let the Barricade Basher like 2 or 3 for 1 under the right circumstances, if you have an Armor Smith. That is... I don't know how this math is going to work out. Am I going to be left with a big scary dude? Yeah, buddy. That's great. Oh, man, I love this card. I know there are more, like, aggressive, like, actual combo things you could probably do with this card, but even for, like, an aggressive, much more traditional way of, like, playing it. Hang on, let me... It's still pretty good. 22 plus 3 is 25. Armor 27. Right? Plus 3, 25, plus 2 gives it plus 2 armor. 27, turn 5, kill, baby. That's the way we do it! Hell yeah. This deck's been a whole lot of fun. I don't know if this deck is going to be the next greatest list in the, on the ladder, but it's pretty good, and you'll get good results out of it. And it might even actually be, I would argue, it's like actually pretty good and could make a genuine push for like really high ranks. But anywho, on to game number 2. And game number 2 with our little Armor Aggro list. This is fine. We'll throw back the Cargo Guard. We'd love to find something, you know, in a 1-drop slot. There we go. We love to take a curve when we can get one. Of course, you know, our opponent still has to choose, otherwise all of this is for naught. Now that I think about it, you don't really see a whole lot of paladins at, you know, at this rank. I think the last paladin that like really stuck in my head, oh please tell me you're here, opponent. The last paladin deck that like stuck in my head was some Death Knight Uther OTK thing. So if we're going against something like that, we might be in trouble. But I also like don't know what other paladin decks I've seen recently, if any. So anywho, I guess we'll just play it by ear. And really, if we're being entirely honest, as an aggressive deck, we're not really going to change our game plan. We're still going to go face. We will play the Rockstar. Both still, like, progress the board, but this does leave us, like, a Guard the City to play after the Barricade Basher. To do, you know, the degenerate Barricade Basher things. Coin. Into... That tells me nothing. Damn. I guess we'll do a Trog and a Hero Power. I don't want to just throw away a Barricade Basher that can just be immediately traded into. That's, like, not a good look. It would be different if our opponent either played a smaller creature that wasn't, you know, able to freely trade. Also, if they buff it, we were certainly not going to keep it alive. But yeah, if they would have had nothing on board, or like a small thing on board, or like a, you know, a silver hand dude, then we would have been able to play that out and felt safer, is what I mean to say. Is it hand buff? La la, fancy. I think I am going to bash this down and just go face. I really shouldn't be playing to our opponent's board too much as an aggressive deck. If at all possible, go face. Let's discover a legendary minion. So we know they have one legendary minion and it has, what, +1/+1. Which is something. 4-drop. Okay. The deck could be anything or just be like a Reno generic pile of good cards kind of thing. I am going to trade here just because I want the Barricade Basher to actually target the Grime Street. If we didn't, there was the possibility that it would have hit the 1/1 and we didn't want that. Fingers crossed this lives. And if our opponent is the... No, okay, I was going to say... Well, I mean, I guess it still could be Reno. We haven't seen any duplicates. I was going to say, if it is Reno, we don't want to overcommit to any particular board. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, it's pretty good. I don't like that it's good, but yeah, there we are. There's no way anything I do lets this live. So I'd rather get through with the small dudes after. Pure Power trades in. Granted, we lose one Barricade Basher, but we have another one spinning up. Being able to play the General next turn. Why? They were... You know what? I'll let it go. Well, I think this deck is really good. Not really good. It's good. And, you know, it'll, like, get you to gold. I don't know if it's strong enough to, like, climb much higher than that, but if you're someone like me who only kind of cares about rank, and you're looking for, like, a fun list that is genuinely different, because this deck isn't trying to do some, like, one-turn combo goofy thing with the Barricade Basher. Not implying there's anything wrong with that. That's just not my, you know, my style of play, if it can be avoided. But yeah, if you're looking for an aggro deck that plays a little bit differently, works well enough, really, I would 100% recommend this. The reason why, I remember what I was talking about before my brain dropped it. The reason why I'm going to keep this in here is that we're an aggressive deck. We wanted to kill our opponent as fast as possible anyway, and them surrendering when they did not need to counts to me as an aggressive win. And, as always, recording time is a little bit valuable. So, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you have any sort of questions like, I don't have X, what about Y, or other generally nice and or constructive comments, I'll respond to what I see. Now, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.